Is it comedy if AI cracks a joke and no one laughs? A few comedians said yes. One asked AI to heckle her, hired by AI companies like Google's DeepMind. We've all seen AI write a paragraph or generate an image in seconds. But here's what it can't do: understand the creative journey. That's where you come in.
Now, the second skill of HQ, I'll give you that meaning later, but just like IQ is intelligence quotient, HQ is, you're probably picking it up. Number two is that emotional resonance, the way that we feel and experience things. We do not experience things in a cold vacuum. We have senses, emotions, programming from growing up in our culture, from our family. But what that does is give us a rich emotional depth that when added to AI, any creator who is trying to paint these characters, show you, write them, has an ability. And developers, this is where it gets really, really good. Because if you have AI that not only has emotion, emotion comes from experience. And what you need to do is up the experience quotient in any way possible. Google DeepMind researchers, led by Piotr Morawski, who is also an improv comedian in his sort of side hustle spare time, studied the experiences of professional comedians who have AI in their work. They used a combination of surveys and focus groups to find out what was going on, but they used these subject domain experts, comedians, making people laugh, trying to get it out there, measuring that. So this is very much an intellectual way, but let's go back to, if you're a creative person, you're putting things in. If you understand comedy, you understand the pacing, reading the audience, things you can't teach AI, but the process, the ideation. And of course, most comedians, like most creators, found the best part of AI was in creating ideas. Like they would ask questions that were not great questions to ask. Now, Google's approach to working with the comedians was to sort of let them in and watch them. And this is very experiential early AI, and you don't want to interfere with the audience. But in the same way, they started writing prompts like, can you write me 10 jokes about pickpocketing? Now think about that. The response was, I decided to switch careers and become a pickpocket after watching a magic show. Little did I know the only thing disappearing would be my reputation. Not a great joke. Or the prompt, please write jokes about the irony of a projector falling in a live comedy show about AI. And one of the better responses says, our projector must have misunderstood the concept of AI. It thought it was meant absolutely invisible because, well, it's doing a fantastic job of disappearing tonight. Now, those are nice tricks and they got some jokes out of AI, but mostly the comedians are like, hey, we do it better. Like we've always said, human experience, reading an audience, watching, feeling if they really get the joke. This is what makes a really funny comedian, more than just the written word or the intelligence. It's that emotional resonance. Anesty Danellis, a Canadian comedian, also used ChatGPT to try to write a show. Again, this was a promotion. Comedians tend to be at the cutting edge of this, seeing if the jokes will land, seeing if they work out. And again, in the end, most of this was not that amazing, though there was an interesting experiment that came out with all this testing. Colleen Lavin, a developer and comedian who participated in the study, she did a stand-up routine. She designed it so if the audience didn't like the joke, if it didn't land, if they didn't laugh, she would get heckled, creating that interactive experience. So let's go back to the summary of where this opportunity is in emotional resonance. One, it's setting these things up, understanding what goes into writing, process, creating a joke and putting it out. Imagine if we took the whole process of their creativity, which with AI, we'd have a record with our prompts, right? And then we weave that into the final choices and ask them just really quickly. You don't have to write 10-page reports. Give us a quick one-page summary of why those choices were made and then show it and feel the audience. But you want to know a rich source of data? Right now, there are comedy stores all over the United States with cameras, videoing, live streaming, doing all sorts of things. There's all sorts of entertainment going on. All of that is data. You can record it. You could work with them. You could actually license out to these comedy clubs, to these casinos, like tons of different entertainers these days. And you could actually use that to train your AI. Did people laugh? When did they go, wow? What you're doing is using data to bring emotion. So while we can bring in people who understand the process in the beginning, if you're a developer, how do you get that emotion in there so it's not just looking at things in a straight path, a linear path, like most Western education teaches? which leads us to the final part of HQ. Because we need deep thinking like humans give us. We need emotional resonance and a different way of looking at things.